Now remember, you can stay in touch and up to date with all our stories on our website, that's bbc.com. And just to remind you of that breaking news we've received in the last few minutes: Russia vetoing that bid to extend UN Security Council approval for 12 months of UN aid deliveries to about 4 million people in opposition-controlled northwest Syria from Turkey. Stay with us on BBC World News. I'm Nancy Kachingira.
Now on BBC World News, the biggest African and international news stories. Focus on Africa.
Hello and welcome to Focus on Africa. I am Peter Okwoche. Our top stories. Former Angolan President Eduardo dos Santos has died at a hospital in Spain at the age of 79. We'll look back at his legacy. The African Union introduces a COVID-19 vaccine passport in digital format intended to enable easier travel within and outside Africa.
Trade has been very negatively affected by the COVID-19 pandemic, and we really need to accelerate opening up.
Former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe dies after being shot twice at a campaign event in Western Japan. Leaders across the world have been expressing their condolences. Also on the program, high fashion. The Paris Fashion Week's crowning glory, couture from the continent. We'll hear from Cameroon's Imani Ayisi, who has grand designs on fashion's biggest stage. And in sports, there are more group games taking place in the Women's Africa Cup of Nations in Morocco for a spot in the quarterfinals. Thanks for joining us here on Focus on Africa from BBC World News. Angola's former president, José Eduardo dos Santos, who ruled Africa's second largest oil producer for nearly 4 decades, has died aged 79. The former president died at the Barcelona Tecnon Clinic following a prolonged illness. That's according to the presidency. Mr. Dos Santos' time as president was marred in controversy with allegations of nepotism and financial misappropriation. Despite being rich in oil resources, at least 36% of the population lives below the poverty line. The BBC's Lebu Diseko looks back at the life and times of Mr. Dos Santos. Now, a vaccine passport is being launched by the Africa CDC with support from international partners, including the World Health Organization, launched on Africa Integration Day at an event attended by some African heads of state and other global health leaders. The passport is intended to enable easier travel within and outside Africa. The BBC's health correspondent, Dorcas Wangira, sat down with the WHO's regional director, Dr. Matshidiso Moeti, and started by asking her why the vaccine passport is needed. That's the WHO's regional director for Africa, Dr. Matshidiso Moeti. Now, world leaders have been paying tribute to the former Japanese Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, who was shot and killed on Friday while speaking at a political rally in Nara in western Japan. In a statement, Nigeria President Muhammadu Buhari sent condolences to the family of Shinzo Abe and to the government and people of Japan, while recalling Abe's unwavering commitment to strengthening trade and investment between Africa and Japan. Kenya's Uhuru Kenyatta tweeted about his shock and said it was unbelievable to learn of the death of his friend and one of Kenya's foremost development allies, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe, in a savage shooting incident. While outgoing UK Prime Minister Boris Johnson tweeted incredibly sad news about Shinzo Abe, his global leadership through uncharted times will be remembered by many. My thoughts are with his family, friends and the Japanese people. The UK stands with you at this dark and sad time. Now, Mr. Abe was the longest serving prime minister in Japanese history, having been in office initially from 2006 to 2007 and then again from 2012 to 2020. The shooter is believed to be a 41-year-old Navy veteran. Caroline Hawley has this report. Caroline Hawley reporting there. Now, there seems to be no light at the end of the tunnel for South Africa's power crisis. Excuse the pun. It's now in its 15th year. The country's state-owned power company Eskom has $26 billion of debt, aging infrastructure and 2 newly built power stations that don't work properly. Added to this is a wage strike last week which crippled the company, resulting in some of the worst blackouts the country has ever experienced. The BBC's Vumani Mkhize brings us this report. Still to come, Mimi will be here with all the sports as we look at what it means for Tunisia as Ons Jabeur becomes the first Arab and African woman in the Open era to reach the women's singles final. Welcome back. Now, the Paris Fashion Week has come to an end and the jewel in the crown comes from the African continent. BBC teams followed Imane Ayisi, the only African to participate in the haute couture show this year. And he's certainly making an impact on the closed world of French fashion, as Juliette Chaplin explains. Brilliant stuff, isn't it? I should walk the catwalk one of these days. You're watching BBC Focus on Africa. Let's get Mimi with some sports now.
Thank you, Peter. Another set of Women's Africa Cup of Nations group stage matches taking place this evening in Morocco, where the tournament is underway. On Thursday, South Africa, who are already through to the quarterfinals, beat newcomers Burundi 3-1, and defending champions Nigeria bounced back from their opening group game loss to beat debutants Botswana 2-0. All right, ex-FIFA President Sepp Blatter and the former UEFA chief Michel Platini have both been acquitted by Swiss judges in their trial for corruption. Much more on that story throughout the BBC today and as well on the website. So that's all the sport for now. Peter, back to you.
Many thanks, Mimi. Thank you very much indeed. And remember that you can get in touch with me and some of the team on social media. I'm at Okwoche. But for now, that's it from Focus on Africa for the week. Enjoy your weekend. We'll be back again with you on Monday.
Hello. The dangerous heat wave continues through parts of the southern states of the USA.